My name is John Rich, and I am the director of the Guild Literary Complex, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to tonight's Palabra Pura here at La Bruquena, which is our regular host venue every third Wednesday of the month. And it's a curated program. Tonight we have Diana Pando, who is going to be running the show, but I just wanted to welcome you and say a few additional things. Tonight will be special for many reasons.
Be careful what you wish for.
Tonight is special for many reasons, one of which is that we are very delighted to be partnering with CAN TV tonight, and they will be broadcasting the readings later on. You're always welcome to check out the schedule at cantv.org, but we will also let the poets and anyone who's on our mailing list know what that schedule is as well. So you can hear your raucous applause if you're in the audience, and you can, if you're a poet, you can share that with your family and friends. And I think that we might still have a spot or two left on the open mic sheet if anybody cares to do that. You can do that quietly and secretly if you wish to. While I mentioned that tonight is also special because we have tons of swag out from the Guild Literary Complex. It's not me just trying to dump stuff off on you. It's actually me just wanting to try to inform you. The Guild Literary Complex has been around for 25 years now and has been a cross-cultural literary presenting organization that really focuses on supporting diverse, divergent, and emerging voices. And a monthly event like Palabra Pura is something that does that, but we actually do over 40 events a year. And as an organization, we are itinerant, and we're intentionally so because what that allows us to do is to move around the city of Chicago and be a little bit everywhere. So the best way to know about what we're doing next is to sign up for our email list, which is up here at the moment. But also, I did pass out some of the remaining events are on a June calendar here. We've been so busy that we actually have an event that's not even on this calendar. On June 28th, for those of you writers in the audience that have a pen or a pencil, on June 28th, we are going to be part of the Printers Ball, which is happening at Sputnik Press, and we're doing an awesome micro version of Palabra Pura. So you'll see a 10-minute, super fast, amazing event with three writers, and that'll be June 28th. You can check that out on the website. And then at the end of the month, I'll be leading a panel at Victory Gardens Theater in relationship to the current show that they have, which is Death and the Maiden by Ariel Dorfman. And the panel on Writing in Exile will be talking to artists and the connection between art and politics and writing from a position of exile and how that might influence one's creativity or not. So lots of stuff going on. There's also information on the sheet about the Gwendolyn Brooks Open Mic Award, which is a $500 cash prize for poets. And the deadline to submit is June 30th. The event is in July, but you have to submit your poetry earlier so that we can do some preliminary judging. And then there will be 20 poets that take the stage at the Chopin Theater on July 23rd for an all-out spoken word battle with the top poet going away with $500. So that's a lot of stuff. I wanted to say it all at the beginning so that you don't have to see me anymore, and I can introduce the lovely and talented Diana Pando for tonight's event.
Hi guys, how are you? Come on, bring up that energy. That's right. Let's give a big applause to John and the Guild Complex for creating this space for us to come together like this. So again, I'm Diana Pando. I'm a writer, and I am also part of the Chicago Latino Writers Initiative, which is also another initiative to help writers tell their stories. Tonight, I am so delighted to be able to curate Palabra Pura. This evening, we are going to feature Beatriz Ruiz, I'm tongue-tied this evening, and Jennifer Patino. Before I go into a little bit about tonight's theme and also a little bit about these fantastic poets, I was thinking we would go right into the open mic, and as soon as we're done, I'll tell you a little bit more about these amazing writers. So for our open mic, Our first participant is Maribel Mares. Where are you? There you go.
Hi. My name is Mirabel Veras. I actually work at a school, and we're nearing almost the last day of school, so I thought I'd commemorate that. I have a children's writers workshop there at the Academy for Global Citizenship, and this is actually work that we collaborated on. It's a short poem. So this is a Salsa Party by Maribel Mares, Joshua Torres, Leila Ben Said, Itzlali Guerrero, Xiomara Guerrero, and Alexa Tapia. They are second graders. Salsa party, salsa, fiesta, loud horns, ladies laughing, loud music, chips and dip, beans and rice, guisado in red sauce, fajitas con pollo. Kids running, men and women in their shiny new clothes. Makeup, perfume, twirling, swirling, it's exciting. Bailando, salsa, fiesta. Their kids screaming, kids crying because they want their mommy. I don't like my mom dancing, it gets me nervous. She dances weird. I used to like it when my mom would dance. Have you ever been to a quinceañera, a Mexican wedding? The wedding dress trails behind her. She carries it and grasps it. The red roses leading in front. There's gelatina, pozole, balloons that pop, tamales, frijoles, tacos, tortas, agua de horchata. Playing around with all my cousins. The games of La Víbora del Mar. First it's someone's wedding, then it's somebody's birthday. They get candies, it's a party. Carne asada, hitting the piñata, kids playing tag, boy and girl side by side, dancing under a disco ball, a beautiful gown, boy and girl side by side, oh what a day. I'm actually the curator for the next Palabra Pura on July 16th, right here. And the theme of next week will be Lost and Found, Letters, Poems, and Marginalia of Cross-Cultural Experience. And that evening, we will travel to Mexico City, Korea, and Haiti via our writers to explore cross-cultural experiences of a dancer, an educator, and a poet. We'll have a couple of people in my life that are very special, and I just wanted to share their stories. And it all started with a photo of Mayra Jimenez, who is actually an educator in Korea. And she posted an amazing photo of her and her boyfriend making a Mexican meal in the middle of a plaza, and she questioned herself, how am I staying Mexican in Korea? So this started a large conversation in my community of friends, and this show is coming together, and I hope to see you here next month so that we can explore. Darren will be showing a slideshow of his time in Haiti, and along with that, poems that were inspired by his time there. And then we have a dancer who I think she speaks through body language, so I think it'll be interesting to show her migration to Chicago from Mexico City. So I hope to see you here next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Maribel. So yes, put it on your calendars and come out next month, and please support Palabra Pura. Our next reader is Mary. Come on up, lady.
Thank you. This poem is for a friend, someone I've known for more than 30 years, and we happened to live in the same city for 1 year, and never since, but we've maintained the friendship all that time. And in the course of that friendship, finding out that in the same month of June 1977, when he was fleeing from Argentina because he was a target of the death squads, and he was going into exile. That happened to be the same month that I was traveling to Latin America for the first time by bus. And so this is a sestina, and the title of it is Dios se lo pague, May God repay you, for Hector. On that afternoon, you didn't know if your side or the other had paid the gunman to force your daughter, your wife, and you into the car. Blindfolded, you strained to hear any voice you knew as they drove aimlessly and argued about the bodies. Then they released you. In 2 days, you were packed and gone north to Brazil. June 1977, the idle bullet found its mark. That month, I made stilted conversation in Spanish, an easy mark for children selling fruit and bread along the highway. I paid in pesos or quetzales or cordobas, rode bluebird buses with the clutch gone, read my notebooks to border cards, my tongue thick with the language you left behind. One night at a dance in a moonlit field, my body caught the heat of rhythms that changed even a note in my voice. Meanwhile, you learned Portuguese, looked for work, lost your voice, arguing with bureaucrats, danced the samba of the refugee, marked time in offices and embassies and alleys until one day somebody put the proper stamps in your passport. The price paid? Your wife and child moved to another part of Rio without you. Alone, you heard the screams of the ones who were gone. I was 19 when 3 of us, traveling by land, had gone south through countries of fault lines, crowded cities, fluid voices, where shawls spilled colors of earth, of birds. A woman asked, "Usted me ayuda?" I held a small sun for her in the dark hours marked by the truck's loud sputter as it lurched up unseen hills. Dios se lo pague, she said at dawn. For years, I felt the weight of his sour body. The officers had an exquisite understanding of your body. A doctor stopped the current the moment awareness was gone. They took turns with you, kept notes. You could have paid in names. Somewhere still there are recordings of your voice begging or rambling. What they did left no visible mark, like the bullet later that was not fired at you. What did and did not happen sent us to each other. At night you whispered stories of prison, exile, la guerra sucia, with your body stretched over mine. I slipped under your skin and found the marks, something new to believe. Your friends said, since you had not gone crazy, you were a bit of a saint for an atheist. You called me vos, brewed bitter mate for me, showed me what could or could not be paid. You left, but it was not a breaking. The place our lives crossed is gone, marked only on old maps. Perhaps because we never paid attention to what would be lost, I still have your body, your voice.
Thank you so much, Mary. Our next reader is the illustrious Miguel Lopez Lemos. Where are you, Miguel? There you are. Come on up.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches. ¿Cómo está?
Lo voy a acercar un poco. I use Rodis, lo acabo de escribir. Hay que llenar este silencio de palabras. Hay que llenar este silencio de palabras. Que no quede ni un solo espacio vacío para puntos, comas o pausas. Porque el silencio quema, carcome, nos arrastra de la soledad y la soledad es como la muerte. Hay que llenar este silencio de palabras, de sueños, alegrías, esperanzas. Hay que gritar y denunciar y cantar para romper el ruido, para romper el nudo en la garganta. Hay que gritar y denunciar, cantar para romper el nudo en la garganta.
Thank you, Miguel. Really appreciate it. Okay, well, I am the final reader before we move into our featured readers. So, the poem that I'm going to read to you is based on an experience that I had attending. It's like an association for the different parts of, or the different states of Mexico. So you'll have an association of, let's say, Guadalajara, Mexico City, in my case, Chihuahua, Mexico. So these pop up in different parts of our city, and in Spanish they're called federaciones. So this is based on that experience that I have that particular evening. And for those of you that are not familiar with Chihuahua, Mexico, it is the border between El Paso and that particular state in Mexico. And usually the accent, it's SH instead of the CH. So when you hear CH, you'll hear it, well, you hear it anyway. I'm just rambling now, sorry. All right, here we go. Esperaba hombres con cachuchas. Instead, they arrived in suits. Chamacos con botas granosas corren en friega. Strobe lights and norteñas assaulting my senses. El gobernador y el cónsul, todos pelando el diente. Mi yoki Parral, Rosales, donde se encuentra mi pueblo Julimes, el holy mess de mi corazón. Lugar de sombreros, sombras viejas chismosas, bolas de plástico llenas de Fanta de naranja. El pueblerino de mi padre. Lugar sin libros, calor que te deja sin saliva. Olor a arid, extra dry, espina de los mejores días de mi vida, enterrados en la tierra como la foto de mi abuela. El viejo al lado mío me mira, skeptical eyes scanning skin, trying to find Tarahumara ancestor buried in face. Seguro que su familia es de Chihuahua? Cut off by the singing of the Chihuahua state anthem. Begin to mouth words of Depeche Mode song. Maybe this isn't a good idea. Man next to me asks again, ¿segura que su familia es de Chihuahua? Y insisto que sí. Trato de no pensar en tonterías, mala costumbre de esta alma hecha de cañón de cobre. Ay caray, recuerdo el ojo alegre del fantasma de mi abuelo fumando cigarrillos. Aplasto pensamientos. Miro radioestaciones clandestinas y mujeres finas con caras de fuchi tomándose fotos. Y empiezan los hombres a platicar pendejadas. Ellos no hablan de los militares en la frontera, el narco charco escupitajo de Juárez, noche que viene como tinted windows of SUVs, coughing up mujeres degolladas en el desierto. No mencionan las maquilladoras, zurrándose encima del sudor de la gente. Tienen demasiado Walmart en las venas y latas de corazón con etiquetas que dicen Made in China. Llegan mis primos en el verano y Navidad para ver la familia y presumir troca nueva. Everyone patting themselves on the back, ready to savor traditional Tarahumara dish of pollo Popeye. Leave Federación feeling foolish. Voice in my head asks, are you sure your family's from Chihuahua? Y la julimeña in me still responds que sí. Well, I am super excited to to announce our featured poets. As I said before, tonight we have Jennifer Patiño and Beatriz Ruiz, who will be reading. So big round of applause for them. Yay! And tonight's theme is this idea of raíces and roots, and what that means for generations that were born basically here, but still have roots in other countries like Mexico. And for me, roots have always been important, especially with like the last piece that you heard. My own roots play a big part of how it influences my writing. So when I read their work, I thought, wow, these ladies are rock stars. So the first featured poet that I'm going to bring up, I'm going to read you her bio, is Beatriz. She is from both Chicago and Guanajuato. And she adores reading for Palabra Pura, and her work recently appeared in Cantología by Pandora Lobo Estepario Press, which I believe is run by the fabulous Miguel Lopez Lemus, and Tri-Quarterly. She also says one of my favorite sayings, no es monedita de oro, pero sí es poeta, hocicona y cabrona. I like it. How to even translate that into English is beyond me, but I'll let her translate that. So come on up, hon.
Hi, buenas noches, everybody. I'm Beatriz. I can't translate that either. So, hocicona means I have a big mouth, and cabrona, literally translated, is goat woman, but I am not. It just means badass type of woman. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming out. Thank you. Oh, taller than I thought. Hello.
And then I ruined it. How's that?
It's good. Thank you. So like I was saying, thank you everybody so much for coming out. Thank you Palabra Pura for having me again. Thank you Diana so much for curating this and putting us together. Thank you Jenny for giving me the honor of reading with you. She's my best friend, my sister. I love her. I'm so glad I get to be up here with her tonight for you guys. It's a beautiful day. I'm just, and I mean that sincerely. I love rainy days. But so basically what I try to explore in my work is, like Diana said, the roots that we have and the feeling of being born here and not being accepted here and feeling that we belong someplace else, and how to navigate both of those. And for me, that navigation comes through in music, especially corridos, stories that I hear from family, and how that factors into who I am, why I'm that way, and how I interact with those stories. So here we go. I am the perfect Mexican son. I can shoot a coin fixed to a tree with sap, restrain a pig by the corner of its eye socket, skin and eviscerate a cow without flinching at its warm dying smell, its blood spattered at my feet. My father has promised to kill for his family, should the need arise. I have promised to help him, which makes me less of a maricón than my brother. He only watches as my father and I chew limes, relishing green bitterness and the burning softness of a good tequila drained with ease and experience. Then I rinse the glasses. We both remember what I am. First dream, 30 years later. He came to the dream late in the afternoon. Watching himself, he thought, I shouldn't have gone to work that day. He watched himself store his coat, comment on trading Mexico for Chicago winters. Queríamos norte, and ambled to his station. It ended as he began to shred steel. He emerged before witnessing the fine blades grinding the insubstantial muscle and bone to elemental parts, unraveling the webbing between the fingers of his hand, long since reconstructed. He awoke abruptly, phantom leg tearing him from sleep. He felt his bundled nerve spasm, his second toe itch. What to do with a man who is barely alive? Northwestern Memorial Hospital, Chicago, Illinois. He was unconscious, unaware of the doctor's hands, reaching into the darkness of his body to mold, shape, create a version of a man undamaged. But the raw material was impure, infiltrated. This confusion of pants, bone, hair, and flesh could not be mixed to form a perfect leg like its twin, unscathed and twitching. Still, the doctor shaped this mass. The foot had escaped the leg by sheer pressure of the machine, stringing itself away in loose strands through the seams of a yellow work boot. Only the last 3 toes remained intact, plump and strange. Anima. 1. His earliest memory, scooting toward a bed where young girls spooned water and masa carefully into the slack mouth of a shriveled, trembling woman. He pulled himself into standing by grasping the sheets with baby fists. Days later, he went to see her and found her gone. With all the logic of the infant that he was, he searched for her beneath the bed. Instead, he found a pale dirt cross. Around him, 9 girls prayed. The novenario had begun. 2. She first appeared to him in his adulthood after he'd been poisoned. Feverish and delirious, he felt her stay, her watchfulness. She came every night as he languished for nearly a month. 3. 1979. He awoke from a 3-day coma, suddenly and mute with pain. He'd been unconscious since the amputation. He saw her with all the parts that cannot otherwise see. His hair strained upward, the tips of his ears perked and glimpsed, the back of his remaining knee crawled. She had come for him. Miedosa. I am afraid of what can happen in the dark. Mummies gaping mouths where my chanclas should be. Robbers climbing into my window, mistaking me for sapphires and pulseras. A house fire where I cannot carry my father, sin pierna, on my back to safety. This was not covered at school with the fire drills. There are 11 steps from my carpet to the bathroom. I don't make it past step 6, the creak in front of my parents' door. My breathing always wakes my father, but neither one of us knows what I need. My head hurts. My stomach hurts. Something bad is going to happen. The words I know in the dark are ansiedad, Padre Nuestro, melancólica, y como chingas. The hard way. 1. No one in my family knows how or why education will improve our lives, but they believe it, and so do I. My father never went to school. He mastered his numbers and mano molde in rare moments stolen from La Junta. Only 3 of his siblings were schooled at all. 10 escuincles require tough choices, and chiveros are not a priority. Neither are women. 2. You have to try hard in school, and I do. So hard, in fact, that everyone compliments me on speaking so well for a Mexican. At 8, I don't know what is worse, sounding like a wetback or sounding white. 3. My father and I lean against his silver Suburban, covered in fine red dirt. He and my tío have business to settle. I take notes. How many calves or magueyes, how much money? I am an intrusion. My tío suggests I'm needed wherever the rest of the viejas are. I squint and keep writing, waiting for my father to snort, comment, spit. He doesn't. I want to knock my tío's bad teeth out so he remembers me, so his daughters can see me every time they serve him food he can't eat. I don't. La Virgen de San Juan de los Lagos, Jalisco, Mexico. We have come, kneeling, walking for days, carried if sick or dying, to be pushed to the altar in the sweaty undulations of the Mass of the Faithful. The air hangs heavy around us with tears, holy water, alive with our trembling need to be heard, to be healed. Our knees bloody, our votives drip, staining splintered crosses. We wait, teeth sticky with prayer. Beyond the altar, retablos and exvotos await us. A reminder to stay faithful, a reminder to keep praying, a reminder that answers will come as they need, not as we wish. Tokens crowd the place, covering walls, ceilings, stairs, wedged in wherever they fit and wherever they were promised. Hair, braided, shorn on the spot or tied in ribbons, shoes, tiny, white and unworn, or hard old huaraches in pairs or alone. Shrunken infants, the missing, the migrated, the miraculous, we have come, milagros in hand. Ni de aquí ni de allá. There is nothing miraculous about this asphalt road without cattle and without crosses. I can't feel these days trembling in a way that forces me to pray. Logic expels fear of dislodged hearts, transparent scorpions hiding in pockets, whales followed by a dog's glowing eyes. Here, I haven't seen love dress itself in marigolds, perfumed with ripe guayabas. There's always something missing. Hunger is a last tuna seed stuck in a molar. La Virgen de San Juan de los Lagos, Part 2, March 2008. I step into the basilica I visited since before birth. Yawning arches, ancient cobblestone stairs, suffering statues, all merge into an asphyxiating hum. Devotion spanning 4,000 miles, my middle name, I pray for death, bodies crushing me into a swoon. Crawling from the door to La Virgencita, praying with my body, I feel every stone, nail, crack, grain of sand in my spine. At the altar, cheek to marble, I listen to her. No dejó ni los huaraches. Señor Lopez carries a small brass bell silenced with cotton in his pocket. He's done this for 2 years, since his wife's mind started to leave her. He could lose her to this possession at any moment, and he wants to be ready because everyone knows if you ring a bell as someone dies, it keeps the devil away. Otherwise, you could end up like Don Fidencio, who was carried off by the devil at his own wake. Everyone says he had it coming for being such a viejo cabrón. People claim to have seen him sprout horns as a fierce wind snuffed out the candles placed throughout the house. As the mourners relit the wicks, they discovered there was nothing left to mourn. His family, pobrecitos, they buried a pile of bricks in his place. They couldn't bear an empty casket. You know how people talk. La Chica. We play dress up in your tia's drag show dresses. I zip you up to feel your skin shivering beneath the cold teeth and sharp sequins. I wish I could lick your lunares on your back. I let you do my eyebrows just to feel you touch my face. Your fingernail polish never matches your toes. It keeps the boys guessing, you brag. Boys don't care about that, but I do. In the spoon of our sleep, I do. This one's untitled so far. How did you know? I hid behind every smooth, neutered man in my locker, hid my delight for your thighs. But here is the secret marrow, my terror in your mouth. My tongue tapped each tooth for days, and you named the pain before I did. That beautiful, pulpy surprise. I want to be with you. I can't breathe, and every exhale is, I'm not like you, I'm not like you, I'm not like that. It all adds up. I count the loves and the fucks on separate hands. For the sake of time, let's not count the kisses, the hands, the mauve pants undone. My husband likes to believe he loved the wildness out of me and did me the favor of forgiving me, which I never asked anyone for. He doesn't think about my nights in the park as a girl, men meant for erasing names I'd rather not say. I won't tell him I can count another fuck and didn't bother to hide my ring. I only feel guilty for not feeling anything at all. Niñas y lagartijos. If there are lizards near little girls who can't sit the way that they should, the lizards will climb up their legs and feast on their wombs. You don't understand. I am that little girl, and the lizards have had their fill. You are the best I can do when I've carved my angular apellido into my thigh, and all I can dream about are women. You give me a daffodil the day I'm obliterated, and so I accept. You love me until I resurrect myself. I am muzzle, blood, and horns. Soy una cabrona, y tú te revelas un lagartijo. Van a ver. One day, I'm going to make all of the noise I couldn't make before. I will take up as much space as I want, let my knees drift as far as is comfortable to me. My mouth crackles with the rage I've gorged myself on for years. I am nothing but poison and bad aim. I am ashamed of my ammunition. The stones rub smooth from years of anxiety. One day, I will pummel someone until they skin me alive. They won't know how to display such a dazzling pelt. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Beatriz. That was lovely. So I'm going to introduce our next featured poet. Bear with me. What can I tell you about the lovely Jennifer Latino? Let's see. Bear with me. Okay, so she is a poet, essayist, arts lover, columnist, and feminista who is passionate about mental health issues, human rights, literacy, and the power that comes from knowing your history. She loves watching the show Scandal, plays, I think we all do, loves playing chess with life-size pieces and watching terrible movies, apparently. So just another a funny little story. Beatriz had sent me, or Jennifer had sent me fun facts about Beatriz and herself, and there was a little breakdown in communication on my part, to say the least. So both of their families are from Guanajuato. Their dads both grew grapevines in the backyard, and both their neighbors killed and possibly ate the huilas that nested in the grapevines. So when I read this, I thought, oh, this will be a cool thing to share. But I didn't know what huilas translated to in English. So I was like, well, let me check it out. So I Googled it, and all of a sudden, all this like smarmy stuff started popping up on my computer at work. And I'm like, whoa, what is this? Maybe I typed it in wrong. So I go ahead and I Google it again, the translation, and it says that it means prostitute. So I'm like, what kind of prostitutes are living in these grapevines? And that the neighbors killed them, so I was like horrified. But it turns out I asked Jennifer to please clarify. But apparently it was like, huilotas is the full thing. But she had given me like a abbreviated version of it. So it means mourning doves. Mourning doves, prostitutes, same thing. Anyway, Jennifer, come on up.
No prostitutes were harmed.
Here, it's not moving. I'll do it that way.
Oh, yes, awesome. Oh, oh. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for coming out. I've noticed that whenever me and Beatrice read together or do anything together, it rains. So it's totally our fault. We brought the rain. So I wanna thank Diana for inviting us to read. Actually, when we were back in January, when we did the One Poet, One Poem event, and Diana got announced as the curator, I was standing in the back and I was like, oh my God, Diana's curating something. That's gonna be so awesome. I really need to go to that. That's gonna be so chingon. Like, I need to be there. So I'm really excited that I'm here. And I wanna thank the Guild Complex for having us. So the poems that I picked tonight are about Guanajuato and Chicago and about gender and about feeling like you don't fit in. Both sort of in a sense of feeling like you don't belong in either place, but also feeling like you don't really belong, kind of coming from the place of you're feeling like you don't belong sometimes anywhere because you're a woman. So kind of feeling like you really don't fit in anywhere, and the experiences that happen to you because of that. So actually, I'll start off with one about Guanajuato. So Guanajuato in the house. Anybody? All right, yeah? Okay, I know, a couple of you, okay. So, anybody from Guanajuato or anybody who's a Jose Alfredo Jimenez fan? Nos Camino de Guanajuato. I would sing it, but I suck at singing, so I'm gonna spare you that. But the first one is Camino de Guanajuato. Camino de Guanajuato. Here is where no vale nada la vida. No vale nada la vida, ladies and gents. Rooster Lungs, Jose Alfredo sang it, so it must be true. We take our ranchero poets seriously. They know a thing or two. But if life is worth nothing, death must have a value. Between 1865 and 1958, a grave tax cost the rich 170 pesos all at once, and the poor who could not afford it, 50 pesos a year, to keep their loved ones buried. They are the accidentally calcified Guanajuato momias on display here. The value of death is a museum admission, 50 pesos to see the poor bodies of the poor that could not pay for a grave. Big mouth. The earthquakes invade our skulls, take away our women's voices and leave us without ways to sing to the heavens or damn them. No way to murmur our tendernesses or sharpen the cactus points of elegant fuck yous. You say I have a big mouth and I wish it was bigger still, that I had never swallowed a word, let it all sweep out like lava, learned the ocean roar that could heal a heart starting with my own. The earthquakes invade our skulls from within our bodies, and without a record of impacts come to take our women's voices, leave us without a way to sing, leave us without the moon. So yes, I have a big mouth, and I'll stretch it wider than forever, leave it out there spinning in the dark, far after I lose my teeth, my lips, far after the wave of sound spinning, waiting in the dark, the truth of all I've said. So I wasn't going to read this one, but I kind of dedicate this one to Oya, the goddess protector of women, and the goddess of storms, so I kind of feel like I have to read it. So, song for when we forget it is not love. We take hits, our piano key teeth ready to make a song from lies, let our bruises heal over, run to the hospital in the middle of the night, pretend it's not killing us, and if it's poison, it's not poison. We're sick. We tell our sons our little white knight, we're just sick. We believe that we are smaller than we really are, believe that we can't live without love, believe we are lost while the ones who really love us, no matter how far, shatter mirrors, dig up black wax, look for the bones of our dead, sharpen them, feed the spirits, wait and say, God save that man. If he walks back in that door, God save that man. Non-criminal death, Chicago. The woman found in a warehouse, the student killed in an apartment, the man shot in his car off the freeway. There are no new murders here. They shuffle the paperwork, make it disappear, keep the numbers low, the lowest in 40 years. They call a press conference, call it a victory. There are no more murders here. The woman found in a warehouse, the student killed in an apartment, the man shot in his car off the freeway, new tags for the body bags. Those are non-criminal deaths, a new word for an old rule, more articulate this time than last. It is not a crime to kill some of us here. It is not a crime to kill some of us in Chicago. These murders are not murders. There are no more murders here. So the city's finest will not look for the killers. They shuffle the paperwork, make it disappear. Grief is a thing too quiet to interrupt the posing for pictures. Call a press conference, call it a victory. The light's pushing us into shadow. Glory, glory, and nothing more. Diagnosis. I feel ghosts in the room sometimes. And once a giant bird with bat wings and dinosaur teeth flew at my mother's head. She said this once and never again. And when the devil appeared to my uncle, told him to clean his house and baptize his son, or he'd drag the newborn to hell, everyone helped him sweep the courtyard and roast the lamb for the bautizo. No one grabbed a straitjacket. This family inventory of bipolar belief, is this madness or magical realism? I find myself asking a doctor who says she specializes in treating Latinas. Check off that box for those research dollars, but all she specializes in is telling me I can't afford the pills that help me, though I pay for everything up front. Says next time go to Cook County, writes a script she says is cheaper, and leaves without running the blood tests I didn't know she should run. That's how I almost died. It starts with me shaking and ramps to a dizzy vomiting hysteria as the toxicity builds in my blood, and I start to sense death waiting in the corner of my room. A lumbering patience that feels ancient without hate or malice, just waiting. And I know if I fall asleep, I won't wake up again. I drag myself past the bulto, fill the tub with hierbas because my family, the often mad, sometimes shaman, steps otherworldly when this world isn't enough. I call on angels and saints vírgenes with pagan names. They at least don't care I'm uninsured. Sana, sana, colita de rana. Si no sana soy, sanarás mañana. You can say what you want about miracles, but you can't tell me about mistakes. And I make it to morning just to spite that doctor bitch who thought I was too brown, too poor to live. Woo! I am. O Meteoro, poem for two Fridas. How else to explain two women in one, the same heart between them, blood pooling in a lap? He loves her not. He splits her, takes the part he likes, leaves the other to bleed to death. And there are the men who will split us too. Want us rounder, darker, with pre-Columbian eyes, downcast, mysterious and sad, lost in voluminous colors, voluminous skirts that mark us Mother Nature. Other men who will want our hair a little lighter, want us in the Spanish lace, upturned doe eyes and a whiter face, heart exposed and bleeding for them, just like our painted mouths. Men like him, men who claim a jeweler's eye for the feminine sex, these men who in the end can't reconcile the two, can't see in our bodies both colonizer and colonized, both histories embodied, catastrophe survived, our struggles of life and death, only the curve of the breast through fabric, the thing they must possess. He loves her not. The gods of duality are dazzling and cruel, but they are not the only ones who are divine. I like hearing the cars outside. In the wind. Yeah, it's kind of relaxing. Okay. Serious face. Okay. Chiquita. What do you do, Chiquita, when she follows you, a deranged Demeter, and knows that a grown man groans against your thighs but doesn't help you, doesn't call it a crime, won't hold you to her like the baby that you are, but holds it against you? Sucia, sinvergüenza. The daily litany of the que dirán, but no one else is saying it. She says it for them. You slut, you whore, you bring disaster. She wails for the white dress, mourns you as if you were dead, ruined. You are ruined. No one will love you now, she says, and so you run with him. You want to believe he loves you, but you know better. He forces you and forces you to smile. You hurt so much you don't feel anymore, but you don't need to feel. You need to think. And so it grows in you, grows in your mind, the myrtle and the vine, and when you run again, the blood in your ears, the thumping in your throat, the first thing you must do, Chiquita, is learn again to cry. Vuelve a tu ser. She was warm in her gold silk on days that grew chilly with passing clouds, my abuelita, with her healing ways, her sing-song voice and soothing tones. She knew how to call me back to myself, collect the bits of soul that fracture in big and little ways. Vuelve a tu ser, mi niña, me decía, vuelve a tu ser. And she'd rub ipazote into my skin to soothe the injuries that can't be seen. There are all manner of hierbas to gather, she'd say in her sing-song voice and soothing tones, but for grief there is only time. And I'd still be in the wind with life's thousand insults if I couldn't hear her calling my name, spinning in the caracol of my ear. Vuelve a tu ser, mi niña, vuelve a tu ser. Repángalo. If you don't know what that word means, it's okay. It's a made-up word. My mom used to say it when she was a kid, and it's she mispronounced relámpago, so, okay. Thoughts that whirl like mama's sewing machine motor, the things she gives me as inheritance, and with it, the relámpago that strikes when we see scraps of rags, thread, bits of broken glass, whatever we can afford, or are lucky enough to find, we turn into collage. We are the artesanas apasoltenses. We have always sold paper flowers outside San Miguel, dressed La Cuevita for el 6 de Enero's Ferris wheel celebrations. We sell pottery sitting on blankets in the streets and carve sandpapered virgins for tourists. It is in us the need, like hands fidgeting, to make things of beauty to survive. Sorry, I'm getting a little distracted, it's kind of blowing in my dress. So. Yes, okay. Okay. Oh, the fan's going too. Okay. So this next one's a little disturbing, but it's a true story. So let's see. Okay. All right. El muerto. The glass plate over the face of the coffin allows one last look for mourners, a moment of thinking like a fairy tale your loved one is sleeping. But at his funeral, they said that the glass was foggy, a thin condensation of breath, inhale and exhale obscuring the window, and that the widow wasn't sad but in a hurry. That's the last song, boys. Time to get this thing buried. We didn't know if it was the usual gossip, devil woman wanting inheritance, a story that might be told tall tale no matter the heartbreak. ¿Y qué pasó? Preguntamos, hoping that they checked his pulse. Pues qué más, lo enterramos. And the men shook their heads at how cruel women can be. Most disturbing conversation ever had. Okay. All right. Hermana Panza Verde. So actually, Panza Verde is what we like. It's a slang term for what we call people in Guanajuato, and it comes from people in Guanajuato. There's a big leatherworking trade, and so it comes from guys with big guts, kind of hanging over the workshop, and like all the tanning stuff, getting on their belly and just walking around and just getting your gut all green. So that's where it comes from. So Hermana Panza Verde. So this one's for Beatrice. Okay. Both our panzas son verdes, real green, real mean, sister mine. Our skins are thick because, yes, the men we were from were leather workers, and they treated hides with big bellies hanging over the sites of daily chemical spills. They toughened their own cuero so some vaquero could look chingon for the ladies. Holsters, saddles, boots, belts, todo de piel. Our bellies are green, real mean, sister mine. Our skins are thick, yes. We too toughened our cuero just to keep this hide our own when our fathers wanted sons because viejas belonged to men. Another accessory de piel, we toughen our skin just to keep this hide our own. We are cowboys sometimes, we are chemical spills, but we are never ladies, and so we find we must patch ourselves up. Lo que nos queda. We are transplants from the rancho, with sun up to sundown agrarian ethic, bed stuffed with hay, oil lamps, faded photographs, and women who hide their breasts behind plaid aprons. Hills, high in the hills, my mother learned to use an old pedal singer to make canvas underwear for the husband she was told to hope she would one day have. She laughs now at how easy it is to drive to Kmart and buy a few pairs instead. While here in the new economy, we flip fast food, smile on command, and wake 9-year-old daughters to help rock the babies we will be paid less than minimum wage to look after. The stretches of land my father fried eggs for will be sold for medical bills, still fertile and upturned by our herds that will also disappear a little at a time until all he has left is a patch of dirt in between Chicago bungalows where he plants chiles verdes, cilantro, tomates, calabaza, cucumber, and 2 kinds of grapes that grow like a dream that won't die. And no prostitutes. No prostitutes. I'm gonna tell him about that though. Okay. Little paper hearts. She was scared of the way she walked, the way she talked, scared of herself before she knew herself. Saw how you flared up when she played with trucks instead of dolls. No me vayas a salir marimacha, you'd tell her as a child. No me vayas a salir marimacha, and she didn't know what it was, the ugliness of your words masked by their motherly origin. You've pulled your hair, given ultimatums, thrown her out and claimed it wasn't true, something to be outlasted when her heart had broken enough. And now you ask if it's true. Yes, it's true, she's marrying a woman. We filled their home with paper hearts for the ceremony, garlands and garlands to bless their years with love, to take the place of those that won't come, those you've made her too scared to invite. And when you tell her it's not too late to turn back, hope she'll be stranded at the altar. It's clear that sometimes paper hearts are stronger than a mother's love. Andamos. We are walking again. In this place, the bluest blue, past hazy nopal and purple sands, the things only we can see reverberating with the pulse of our steps, we, the invisible ones, the ones who move quietly, whose names are not remembered. We have been walking. We outlast the glaciers, cut pockets into time, disappear and emerge, exist where no one can reach us, invent new flowers, and wait to see them grow in our steps. Okay, so this one doesn't have a title, but I feel like I have to preface it because I read it to Ruben earlier, and he said that it sounded like it was an allegory, and it is not. It is the worst Craigslist job interview I've ever been on. So, but it turned out into a nice poem. But yeah, so I just showed up to this cafe. This guy was looking for an artist assistant, and he just pulled a human skull out of his backpack, and it was covered in gold. And he's like, "This is my project." So whatever that is, that's the title. So, okay. One day you may be driving down the road when you die suddenly in a car accident and lie unclaimed in a morgue until an artist finds you and covers your skull in 12 years of gold so he can show you to 10,000 people because he says he loves you when no one else loved you. But he'll get defensive when anyone asks who you were or if he tried to find your family, questions like that, because you are beyond that now. What matters, he says, is that you were once a casing for a brain, but you're dead, so he'll put your new golden face on coasters with doodles of flowers on the back and sell them as raffle tickets because he can talk a good game about Aztecs, and because people buy strange things when they are drunk in bars. So I didn't get the job. And I was like, what's wrong with me? Yeah, right. Should have told him about the huilas. Okay, so this one is, I scare the shit out of white boys. All right. Seducing them is easy. All the hot tamale stereotypes just toss on a red bra and bam, ready to go, not immigrant, imported. Appealing off of labels when layers come off and dicks get hard, something authentic, more in touch with fuck, I don't know what. Boys that like to hear my political rants against what they fear they'll become. A real revolutionary mamita right here, and embed Spanish makes them come. Ay, Dios mío, ay, así. Phrases Rosetta Stone don't teach. But look how they run. But look how they run when I'm real fucked up. When I'm howling rancheras, screaming like violins, and this ain't no Mexican Barbie lesson in pussy diversity no more. When their exotic liberation doesn't happen, and it turns out the birds that sound tropical like gorrión are really just sparrows. And this bird's throat is swelling with a mouth wide for spitting barbs or calling men delicious torments. It's when it all comes out that they think I'm crazy like Latina prostitute about to kill her pimp on Law & Order on SVU, because that's what they know. But no, I'm Coatlicue monolith, the apocalypse they summon by thinking Mayan predictions true, a death to their fantasies, birth of mine. I'm queen of the jaguars when the moon is full and I'm bleeding, the curandera trance comes over me and electrified I channel my own predictions. Baby, I know all about you, how you will marry a woman with a voice like smoke who will stop loving you in the 11th year. I see the dried leaves that will catch fire when you're caught fucking a 14-year-old on your wife's new couch. Come to think of it, I'm pretty sure I scared the shit out of all men equally. Thank you. Very polite, petite thank you. All right. So rounding out the top, right? Love in the time of guns. You hear about the heads rolling, 40 dead, highways clogged, highways watched, owned by sabe quién. You hear about the camiones pulled to the side, the men unload and told join us or die. You hear about the kidnappings, the ransoms sent too late, the narcofosas, the militares guarding funerals because you never know your old roads, your old home are tributaries of hell. 3 cartels, at least 3 cartels. Your tias get pizza one night and duck just in time for another firefight, and now they lie all the time. Say they have no husbands, no children, keep them hidden. Get down in the back, mi amor, get down in the back, and they've stopped nudging you, stopped asking you, ¿Y tú cuándo, mi amor? ¿Tú cuándo, mija? ¿Que no te quieres casar? You hear about the partidos and the promises this way and that, and think if they were honest men, they'd be dead. You hear about the Americans and their guns. Americans and their guns, they're right to be scared of everything. Shoot you on the border, shoot you in the theater, shoot your children, shoot you for looking wrong. Shoot 46 on the south side, call it a Chicago weekend. Shoot you before they come for your guns, but no, the American guns come for you. Oh, sorry. Cross the border, make Mexico their new home, and the bodies climb the thousands. They climb by the thousands. In the middle of all this, you find some cover, find some love. Someone who holds you and tells you sweet things, smiles, teeth straight, a face that's never been punched, and he makes love like it's his religion. He wants you. His body is everything gentle. You run your hands over his hips and let him kiss you. Blink away the bullets. Try not to imagine his corpse. Try not to what if, because you love and you've never been loved before. Would give anything not to lose him. This. Know how to pray, but your whole body. Don't know how to pray, but your whole body aches in all directions. Please for him, please. But Nena, the only thing you know is that you never know, so you kiss him harder now.
All right, guys. So let's give it up one more time for these guys. Yay! And thank you again, all of you, for coming out in the torrential rains that Beatriz and Jennifer brought with them. That was our Palabra Pura for the evening. If you did not sign up for the Guild Complex e-newsletter, please do so. They have a lot of cool events coming up. Also, remember that next month is Maribel Mares, who will be curating the next Palabra Pura. And if you have questions about the work that you heard here tonight with our featured poets, stop in and say hello to them, and feel free to ask away about some of the work that they're doing. So thanks again, John, and everybody else. Thank you.
And just a final thanks to La Briquena for hosting us here in Humboldt Park. The bar is still open, so have a drink and talk to your writer friends.